start by adding white PAX paint to the prosthetic. The white PAX paint does come on the application kit, which also includes the Prosthetic, which is used for adhering to the face, adhesive remover spray, which is to remove the residuals of the Prosthetic after removing the prosthetic, as well as some sponges, disposable sponges for application, and cotton swabs with instructions as well. If you do want to make your own PAX paint, it's not too complicated to make. You would have to get Prosthetic no tack, which is 50% of it, and then the other 50% will be Liquitex acrylic paint in white. Combine the acrylic paints until you make the color that you like, and then 50% of the Prosthetic no tack. You can also use Prosthetic, regular Prosthetic, but I don't really recommend it because it can get really sticky when you're trying to apply the PAX paint. Alright, so the no tack works a little bit better for making any PAX paint. But yes, I do go over the whole prosthetic with the PAX paint. If you do want to buy the Prosthetic no tack, they sell it at Nigel Beauty or Friends Beauty. That's where I get my FX supplies, like silicone, ultra plaster for molding, as well as plastics for molding, spray releases for molding, silicone adhesives, and any other adhesives, removers, setting sprays, etc. A lot of materials that I use, I get both from Nigel Beauty and Friends Beauty. Okay, so now that we're done completely with the white PAX paint, I do wait about a minute or two for it to be a little bit dry, and then I go over with the cream makeup. The cream makeup that I prefer using, which I didn't have it available at the time of this video, is Krylon TV Stick or Supra Color as well from Krylon. They're both cream makeup. And in my opinion, they work really good on foam latex. The color is the 070 in white, right? Krylon TV Stick or Krylon Super Color number 070 for white. But at the time of recording this video, I only had the Maron cream stick available on white, which did work as well, but I feel that the other brand, Krylon, works a little bit more better in dispersing the cream makeup all over the prosthetic. You can see that I am also wearing gloves in the video. The reason that I like using gloves is I don't want the PAX paint to be stuck on my fingers. It is a little bit hard to remove from the skin, and as well the cream makeup, I don't want it to be stuck on my fingers. It gets messy, and I don't want to be cleaning them, so I do take off the gloves once I'm done painting the prosthetic completely. And if you do need to remove any PAX paint from their skin or fingers, I do recommend using alcohol. 50 or 70% alcohol will work, 91 as well, to remove any Prosthetic from the skin or fingers. The next step here is the tattoo paper eyebrows that I do have on the deluxe kit. The deluxe kit also includes the little dot on the nose with the tattoo paper transfer, and I do recommend cutting them super tight when cutting the dot and the eyebrows with the tattoo paper. Cut them like as close as you can to the line, which will be the best for applying them. I like using a cotton ball soaked with water, if not a paper napkin soaked with water, to use as with the transfer tattoo paper, in the eyebrows. And once you soak the eyebrow on top of the prosthetic with that cotton ball or paper napkin, you start lifting the tattoo paper from one corner or the other of the eyebrow. If one corner, when you pick it up, it's not sticking, the tattoo transfer, then go to the other corner, and both corners are not sticking, then go back with the cotton ball or the paper napkin soaked in water back again until one of the corners sticks. And once you see that one of the corners is sticking with the tattoo paper to the prosthetic, then start lifting it patiently and slowly. Once you remove the tattoo paper and you see one of the edges of the eyebrows are lifting, you can go back with that same cotton ball soaked with water on top of that corner of the eyebrow, and it should be able to stick back to the prosthetic. Now we're going for the second eyebrow, and you do want to make sure you cut it as close as you can when cutting them to the eyebrow. That way when you align both of them, it will be easier to have them align perfectly. Now we're gonna start in the eyes. So I do go with an ink liner, black ink liner. Right now I'm using LA Girl ink liner, but I also recommend the NYX ink liner. They're both work pretty good. We skipped the part with the eyes, but they shouldn't be too complicated. So now we're going with the eyebrows. We're gonna start doing the application process. I do go over my eyebrows with Elmer's school glue. I do one pass on each eyebrow, wait for it to go a little bit transparent in the eyebrows, and then I go over with baby powder. You can see that I use the fan for it to dry a little bit faster. Once they're dry, we go for a second pass. I recommend going for 2 passes on the eyebrows. And why are we doing the eyebrows with the Elmer's glue? You don't want the Prosthetic on your eyebrows. You don't want any Prosthetic on your hair as well. If you do have some kind of beard or any kind of like hairs on your face, you want to shave, any facial hair, eyebrows, use Elmer glue to cover them. It's like a protective layer for the Prosthetic, because if you have Prosthetic on your hair, it's so hard to remove. But the Elmer's glue acts as a protective layer. So once you remove it, the Elmer's glue gets stuck with the Prosthetic, and the eyebrows will be easier to clean afterwards. But that's the second pass. After the first pass, baby powder, and then the second pass, baby powder again. You can go 3 passes with Elmer's glue, but I feel like with 2 passes is more than enough. Now, right before application, we do want to go with this kind of like lotion barrier called Skin Saver, which acts as a protection barrier between the Prosthetic and your skin. It does help out with a faster removal process, right? And after you're done applying the whole Skin Saver lotion all over your face where the Prosthetic and glue will be, then you do want to baby powder it for a bit, and then of course remove the extra baby powder from your face. If you don't baby powder it, I had issues with the Prosthetic sticking if I don't baby powder it, the lotion, right? So make sure you baby powder and then remove the excess, like right here. So baby powder in your face, and then this is when we're gonna start doing the application process. Okay, so first to start adding the Prosthetic, you want to start around the nose area. That's the first part where I add the Prosthetic. You first want to align the nostrils with the nostrils of the Prosthetic. You don't want the nostrils not to align, because then you won't be able to breathe through your nose properly, right? And it's kind of uncomfortable if you don't breathe through your nose. There's some prosthetics that don't have nostril holes to breathe, kind of like the Grinch prosthetics, but this one does. But yeah, make sure you always do align them first, the nostrils and nose. Right, so that's the first part for the application process. The second step for the application process, I like going around the forehead, the middle of the forehead, on top of the nose, the middle of the forehead, and a little bit more on top of the Prosthetic, actually on the back of the Prosthetic, sorry, and wait a few seconds to dry. You got the little fan here, just put the air there. You see the Prosthetic is white. Once it starts going clear, that means that it's ready, and you can lay the Prosthetic on top and press on it. Like going around the eyebrows next here, next to the forehead, again a little bit under the eyebrows. I did do around the eyes as well, right? You can just wait until doing the eyes after you're done with the forehead. It's just preference, right? But I did do here the right side of the eyes and the forehead, and bringing the fan in here just for a faster drying process. You don't really need it. You can also use a blow dryer. It's just makes more noise. It does dry faster, it makes more noise, and the fan is always less invasive than the blow dryer. Okay, now I go to the other side, and you can use cotton swabs if you like. I use a brush, which I do throw away after using it with the Prosthetic, because it kind of like, it's hard to clean a brush with Prosthetic, so I do throw away brush when using the Prosthetic. It's easier to disperse the Prosthetic around your face. So now I have the forehead and the nose done, as well around the eyes. Basically the top half of the prosthetic has been adhered. Now I need the bottom half. I start with the cheeks on one side. Make sure you take your time when you're adding the Prosthetic. You don't want to add just the Prosthetic all over your face and try to glue the mask or the prosthetic. It's not going to work, because it does dry. But just go section by section, be patient. If for whatever reason you glue the prosthetic wrong, or it glues on itself, or it's crooked or not aligned correctly, you can always have a glass shot with alcohol inside, like 50%, 70%, even 91% alcohol. Of course, the higher the percentage, the more stronger the alcohol will be. So the more the stronger the fumes will be, and the fumes can be very irritating around the eyes and the nose. So keep that in mind. But 50% alcohol definitely helps dissolving the prostate, just in case you glue the prosthetic incorrectly or it glues on itself. So now I did the other side of the cheek with the prostate. Like I said, do little by little, sections by sections. Don't rush it. Take your time. If you're gonna do the application process, make sure you take 2 hours or plan up 2 hours just in case trial and error, right? If you can't pre-paint the prosthetic the day before, the night before, will save you some time. It's easier to paint it, outside, on your desk, and paint it on top of you as well. So if you can paint it before applying it, better. It will save you time. So now I'm going on the outside of the cheek. Almost done with the cheek parts. And again, going over with that fan for it to dry faster. So now I need the chin and under the chin for the most part. Oh, actually, see, I'm like flapping here the prosthetic to see where I'm missing some prostate. Now I double check the nose as well to see if I needed to add more glue, but it seemed to be okay. So now the outer part. Since it's a little bit big, the prosthetic on me, there's a leftover prosthetic on the side, but it doesn't really matter because once I do put on the cowl, it covers the edges. So you don't have to even worry about hiding the edges in this kind of prosthetic because of the cowl for the most part. Now we're starting with the chin. Okay, and we go with the brush inside. We kind of leave it a little open. You can see that it's a little open. That way the air can go through inside the prosthetic and dry that prostate a little bit faster. And then we go ahead and press on it. That way it sticks. Now we just need the bottom of the chin. Okay, for whatever reason, if you think it's getting too sticky in your fingers or the glove, you can always have baby powder and put baby powder on your fingers or on your glove. That way it's not too sticky. You don't want the glove or your fingers to get stuck on the prosthetic because you can possibly tear it, right? If you get stuck with prostate, because you have prostate on your fingers and you get stuck, right? So you always want to have as well baby powder on the side just in case your hands or gloves are too sticky when you're doing the application process. For me that already have practice, pre-painting the prosthetic takes me about maybe 15 minutes to 20. The application, now that I've done it for a while, usually takes me about 30 to maybe an hour if I have make mistakes. But it average about 40-45 minutes, the application process, which is the longest part. The removal process can take from 10 to 20 minutes depending, right? I do like using 50% alcohol. You can use the adhesive remover that comes with the application kit, but it does have oils. And if you do want to reuse this prosthetic, you don't want to use the adhesive remover on the prosthetic because the oils will prevent it from sticking a second time around. So you prefer using 50% alcohol if I want to reuse the prosthetic as well on the removal process. But now I'm just double checking here what parts are missing any prostate. A little bit around the mouth part. I just go in with the cotton swab to soak in the edges with prostate. The edges of the prosthetic, they're always super thin. So when you go on top with Prosthetic, on top of the edges, it does go through the edges of the prosthetic and to their skin, so it does soak in. So the edges are easy to add the Prosthetic on because it does soak in. Same thing here on the eyes. The edges are super thin, right? So I just go on top and let it, you know, soak in. Now come back here with the little fan. Let it dry for a few seconds. If you want to be more cautious about hiding the edges, you can always go with a Bondo Prosthetic or just a Prosthetic paste with little red sponge to cover the edges, right? I didn't do it on this video. That sponge right now is just as baby powder. The reason you want to add baby powder on the edges is because they do get sticky, and if they're sticky, dirt and dust and hair will get stuck on it, and it will be annoying all day and it'll look dirty, right? Also, if for whatever reason your eyelid gets stuck with Prosthetic, you can go in with a little bit of 50% alcohol. You know, make sure your eyes close until the alcohol completely dissolves for the fumes, and then add baby powder on top for it not to stick again. Now we're going for the lips. Now that the full application process has been done, right now I'm using this product that we started making here called DHT for David Howard Thornton. It's a liquid lipstick. It dries in about 2-3 minutes, right? So I do recommend it only on the skin. It takes a little bit longer to dry on the prosthetic and it can smudge, right? So I would only recommend this product for skin, like around the lips or even around the eyes, right? But right here I'm just dispersing here that product that we have here on Studio Flesh called DHT, which stands for David Howard Thornton. We love that guy. But yes, I'm just going all over here with that black lipstick makeup. This liquid lipstick called DHT does come included here with the deluxe kit. Now we are in that same product around the eyes where we're missing that paint. Then on the next eye as well, same process. For whatever reason, you do mess up, you know, adding some black outside the lines or you smudge black on the prosthetic, you can always go back with 50, 70 or 91% alcohol and a cotton swab and remove that excess black with a cotton swab and alcohol. And then go back with either cream makeup or white PAX paint to cover up that little mistake. And just to finish the touches, adding the contacts. I'll be adding the link for the contacts. I highly recommend them. They're super accurate, as well as the cowl. I got them Scare Pros. Really good cowl. They actually is the same cowl that they use in Terrifier 3, right? But yes, this is the application process. And happy holidays.